Okay, para maka-try po tayo ng ano, ng example ng puwedeng matanong sa inyo sa bar. Kukuha ako sa bar Q&A 'no, 2019 'no, dun sa mga ano, dun sa mga nag-avail lang po nung pre-week, reviewers and lectures. Ito pong Q&A na 'to, all of the enrollees meron sila. Okay, so from 2013, everything was answered by us hanggang 2023. So kuha ako sa isa 'no, 2019 bar, number 20, B20 'no. Ito po tinanong po yung independently relevant statement. So kailangan natin i-analyze kung IRR yan or IRS yan or hearsay. Babasahin ko sa inyo yung question 'no, para makakuha din tayo ng, bar exam quality level 'no, bar exam level na question. Okay, a 10-year-old minor was sleeping inside her room when she was awakened by her uncle, Mr. G, who was reeking of alcohol and was already on top of her. Alam na yung mangyayari dito, no? After Mr. G succeeded in having carnal knowledge, no, of AAA, yung bata, the former immediately left the room. Okay. Thereafter, AAA rushed into the room of her mother, punta sa kwarto ng nanay niya, and spontaneously and frantically reported the incident, no, that happened. Eventually, Mr. G was arrested and was indicted for, alam nyo na, rape. Okay. During trial, MMM was presented as a witness to testify on what AAA reported to her. And AAA's gesture and disposition at that time. Mr. G's counsel objected to MMM's testimony. So yung testimony ng nanay, kasi nanay po ang nag-testify, hindi po yung bata kasi traumatizing yung incident. Di ba? On the ground that it is hearsay evidence. Yun po yung contention ng lawyer ni G as the accused. No? The prosecutor countered that the subject of MMM's testimony may be admitted as an independently relevant statement. Doon muna po tayo. Okay? So, first question, no, two parts yung question kasi. No? May sub-question A, may sub-question B. Sub-question A, tanong, may MMM's testimony be admitted on the ground that it constitutes as an independently relevant statement. Uulitin ko, hindi naman sinabi rito yung purpose, no? Pero ano po yung testimony ni MMM dito? Ang sabi, MMM was presented as a witness to testify on what AAA reported to her. Meron po bang sinabi sa facts that MMM stated kung ano may sinabi sa kanya ni A to prove the truth of what AAA stated to her? Nothing. Ang sinabi lang po dyan, sinabi ni MMM, ano ba sinabi sa kanya ni AAA? Yun lang. What was reported to you? Please testify on that, basically. O sinabi niya, ito po sinabi sa akin ng anak ko, ni-rape daw siya ni ganon, ni-rape siya ni ganyan. Nag-counter ngayon, nag-object yung accused. Sabi, hearsay yan. But then again, sinabi ba ng prosecution, no? In-offer ba ng prosecution etong testimony ni MMM to prove the truth of what AAA stated to her? Hindi. Ang sinabi lang naman, what was reported to you? With that being said, ito po sagot natin, no, using the method of answering for the bar. The method ko for answering sa bar, no? No, MMM's testimony. Wait a minute. Then is yes, no? MMM's testimony may be admitted on the ground that it was an independently relevant statement. So, itakal po natin, no? Paano natin, how will we define an independently relevant statement? We invoke case law. Case law dictates that an independently relevant statement is an out-of-court statement, no? Offered to prove that such statement was made. No? Dagdagan nyo, it is admissible in evidence. On the other hand, no, under the rules on evidence, a statement is hearsay, di ba? If it is a statement other than the one made by the declarant, di ba, while testifying in a trial or hearing, offered to prove the truth of the facts asserted therein. Baka namali ako ng konti doon sa sinabi ko, no? Pero yun yung top of my head na definition ng hearsay statement, di ba? A hearsay statement is a statement other than the one made by the declarant while testifying at a trial or a hearing offered to prove the truth of the facts asserted here, therein. Here, MMM merely testified as to what AAA reported to her. She did not testify that the statement of A to her was the truth. Diba? She merely stated that. In other words, MMM only stated that the statement was made to her by AAA. Thus, it is admissible as an independently relevant statement. Okay, gano'n, no? Gano'n ang galawan po dyan, no? Sa independently relevant statement. One more time, may isa pa tayong ano rito. Independently relevant statement, anong taon naman to? Roman numeral to, so ibang taon to. Sandali lang. One more time, ha? Sige. Bago tayo pumunta sa dying declaration sa part of res geste. 2018. Imagine guys, back-to-back years, di ba? Tinanong noong 2019, tinanong noong 2018. So, di ba, medyo talagang hasang-hasa dapat tayo, no? Next question about doctrine of independently relevant statement, no? As opposed to res geste. Babasahan ko ulit kayo, no? Hindi na magano to, mas maikli itong facts na to. Denny is on trial for homicide. The prosecution calls Danilo, a police officer who interviewed the victim. Drew, shortly after the shooting, Danilo, a police officer who interviewed the victim, Drew, shortly after the shooting. Okay. Danilo's testimony is being offered by the prosecution for the purpose of proving, number one, ay sinasabi ko sa inyo, dapat tingnan nyo sa bar exam, no? Ang dami nung sinabi, nalito pa ako doon sa first two sentences, pero hindi naman yun ang hinahanap para masagot natin yung bar exam question. Ang hinahanap natin yung babanggitin ko sa inyo ngayon. Danilo's testimony is being offered for purposes of proving, ayan na, sabi ko sa inyo, purposes. Dapat mag-ano na yung mata nyo agad dyan. Highlightan nyo na agad sa exemplify. Di ba? Ano yung tatlong reasons? Ba't yung ino-offer yung testimony ni Danilo? To prove that Drew is now dead. Second, while in the emergency room, Drew was posting his medical condition on Facebook and was liking the posts of his Facebook friends. Okay. Number three, Drew asked the nurse for water but was refused because he was bleeding, which subsequently angered Drew. And lastly, the purpose ng ba't ino-offer to, that before dying, Drew signed a statement in which he identified Denny as his shooter. Okay, question. Is the proposed testimony of Danilo admissible? Kailangan tingnan natin yung each purpose. We need to tackle each purpose to determine if admissible ba o inadmissible yung sasabihin niya. Drew is now dead. Is that admissible in evidence? Oo, okay. Kasi yun, personal, iba po ang dahilan ba't siya magiging admissible. That is admissible because that is the personal knowledge of Danilo. Patay na yung tao eh. Alam niyang patay na yung tao, that is admissible. Not because it is hearsay, not because it is independently relevant statement, but this is a fact that was derived by Danilo based on his own perception. Patay na yung tao. Te-testify ako. That's what I saw. That's what I know. Okay, wala pa dun. Wala pa dun yung mga statement. Wala namang statement, di ba? Namatay lang naman eh, no? So, namatay siya, okay? Doon tayo sa mga statements, no? Para malaman natin kung hearsay ba yun o independently relevant statement. Okay. Huwag muna natin determine kung time declaration ba yan, res geste, huwag muna tayo doon. Hearsay o independently relevant statement lang tayo. Okay, next. While in the emergency room, Drew was posting his medical condition on Facebook and was liking the posts of his Facebook friends. Meron bang statement doon? Wala din. It's his own perception of what happened before this person died, ni Danilo. No? So, hindi pa natin kailangan i-factor in yung independently relevant statement at saka yung hearsay. However, alam nyo ako, pwede kong gawing inadmissible yan. Alam nyo kung bakit? That's an irrelevant evidence. Ano naman kung nagla-like ng Facebook post yan? Di ba? So we can argue that this is actually an irrelevant evidence. Di ba? So, ibang-iba to, no? Sa super basic principle na ito, no? Kasi yung yung hearsay evidence, independently relevant statement, yung mga yan, it talks about the competency, di ba? Competence, no? Competent evidence ba yan? What I'm trying to say here is this evidence is not relevant. Di ba? What is a relevant evidence? No? It is an evidence, no, which has a relation to the fact and issue as to induce belief of its existence or non-existence. Ano po ba yung fact and issue in this case? Sino ang pumatay doon sa namatay? Sino ba yung namatay dito? Si Drew. Sino ang pumatay sa kanya? That is the fact and issue. Ano yung evidence na pinresenta? Na si Drew daw, nagpo-post sa Facebook at nagla-like ng post ng kanyang mga kaibigan. How does this induce belief that Denny was the shooter? How? It doesn't, right? Anyway, sige, tangent na lang tayo since natakil natin. Tandaan nyo, karamihan po ng tanong sa bar about sa competence. No? About sa competence. No? Like, documentary evidence, when is it admissible, object evidence, when is it admissible, lahat po yung competence yan. Competent evidence pa yan. Yung relevant evidence, no, actually, maiksi lang yan apart. No? Nasa unang rule lang yan ng rules on evidence. Kasi, malalaman mo kung relevant o hindi ang evidence based on pure logic, common sense, like in this case. But natin na-determine na hindi siya relevant because common sense. Diba? The fact and issue, ilalapat mo lang yung basically yung factual circumstance ng bar question dun sa meaning ng relevant evidence. Diba? The fact and issue is who killed this person? What was the evidence presented? That the victim was using Facebook at that time or before he died. How is that relevant? How can this induce belief that Denny was the shooter? The existence, di ba? To induce belief of the existence, di ba? To induce belief of its existence or non-existence. How? It did not. So it's inadmissible, not because it is incompetent, not because hindi siya personal knowledge ni Danilo, but because it is irrelevant. Let's move to the next. The number 3. Drew asked the nurse for water but was refused because he was bleeding, which subsequently angered Drew. Again, personal, personal own perception sa ng police. So for the purpose of competence, personal knowledge niya yun. So hindi po siya magiging inadmissible sa competent evidence, sa competent side. Hindi po. No? Kasi nga, this is based on the personal knowledge of the police officer. Ba't siya magiging inadmissible ulit? Kasi irrelevant. Ano pakialam natin sa pagkuha ng tubig o hindi pagbigay ng tubig? Di ba? Ito na tayo sa pinaka-important sa lahat, sa number 4. Okay? Ito na. Ito talaga iniintay natin lahat. Okay? And number 4, that before dying, Drew signed a statement in which he identified Denny as the shooter. Ayan. Ayan na. Nagkaroon na ng statement. Ang statement nga lang, tandaan nyo, sulat. Tatandaan nyo, pwede po maging hearsay, pwede maging independently relevant statement ang isang statement, hindi lang po limited sa verbal. Pwedeng written din, like this case. Signed. Okay, so written yan, hindi naman sinabi ni Drew. Pero this can still be considered as hearsay or independently relevant statement. With that being said, ano po ba itong statement na to? Hearsay o independently relevant statement? Why was it offered? Sabi lang po dyan, ino-offer to that before dying, Drew signed a statement. Tandaan nyo, ang ino-offer po, ang purpose ng offer is to prove that Drew signed something. He signed a statement. Hindi po sinabing the statement in the written document is true. Sana naiintindihan nyo. With that being said, this is an admissible evidence. And this is unadmissible evidence. Kasi it's an independently relevant statement. Hindi po siya hearsay statement kasi si police, si Danilo, hindi naman niya sinabing this statement, this signed statement, signed declaration na nakasulat, hindi naman sinabing true. We're just saying, this person signed this. And this person happens to be dead. Oh, so doon po sa apat na sinabi dito, dalawa ang admissible, dalawa ang hindi. O bakit admissible yung una? Kasi relevant yan. No? Drew is now dead. That is relevant to determine, to prosecute yung kaso for homicide. Di ba? Siyempre, kailangan patay yung tao bago ka makapagkaso ng homicide. Good. Admissible yung una because it is based on his own perception. Yung number 4 also admissible kasi it's an independently relevant statement. Yung number 2 at saka yung number 3, yung sa tubig at saka yung nagpi-Facebook siya, these are inadmissible because of irrelevance. See? Ito po mga questions sa bar na ito, di ba? Sa kasunod, 2019, 2018. Meron ba tayong ginamit na sobrang kakaiba na provision under the rules of court? Wala po. Lahat siya nag-revolve lang sa basic provisions. Own perception, personal knowledge, relevant evidence, competent evidence, independently relevant statement, and hearsay statement. And you have your answer. Kailangan pa basahin nyo. Basically, matuklap na yung ODAL nyo para lang makapasa sa remedial law. Akala ko din ganun. No. Remedial law is all about application. It's all about application. Okay? Iba yung discipline kumpara sa ibang mga subjects. Okay? Iba talaga yung discipline dito, how we excel in remedial law kumpara po sa ibang mga subjects like poly, no, labor standards, commercial law for some portions ng commercial laws, ano pa ba? You get the point. Kasi yung criminal law, analysis talaga eh. No? Criminal law, some parts of commercial law, analysis talaga. Application, civil law is application. No? Taxation is application. Diba? Anyway, so you get the point. Sa remedial law, application is the key. With that being said, let's go to dying declaration at sa arrest state. Okay, so ano po ba yung elements? Hindi pa lang elements. Ano po ba requisites ng dying declaration for it to be admissible, no? So anyway, I will refer to our 3-week na lang din for accuracy purposes. Okay. After nito, we will tackle object at saka documentary evidence. Okay. Dying declaration. So there is a declaration of a dying person. Tama. Okay? There is a case. The case can be any case. Civil, criminal, administrative, pwede. And in that case, his death, but the death lang nilagay ko. His death is the subject of inquiry. And lastly, no? The testimony, the testimony, patay na nga, paano mag-testify? The declaration is about the surrounding circumstances of his death. Okay? In Tagalog, yung sinabi nung namatay na tao bago siya mamatay ay about po sa kamatayan niya. Bakit po siya namatay? Okay? So tandaan niyo, pag sinabing dying declaration, hindi automatic prejudicial siya sa akusado. Minsan, beneficial siya sa akusado. It goes both ways, no? Hindi automatic, no? Kasi usually, pag sinabing dying declaration ng isip natin, nako, patay yung akusado rito, makukulong yan. Not necessarily. It goes both ways. Okay? May isa pa akong kulang, I'm sorry. Under the consciousness, naisip ko din na yun. Under the consciousness of impending death. Consciousness. Kompleto na yan, 5. Okay, 5 requisites, no? What are the most important requisites, no? Tandaan nyo to. Itong number 2, yung inilagay ko ngayon, yung consciousness na salita. First important thing here. Tapos, ito. Number 3 and number 5. Yan, yan po yung pinamumugaran ng mga tanong sa bar exam for dying declaration. Okay, sorry na, blank yung screen. Ito po tatlo na to. Number 2, yung under the consciousness of impending death. Surrounding circumstances of his death, yung declaration niya. Tapos yung his death is the subject of inquiry. Yung 2, 3, and 5, yan po, dyan namumugad ang tanong sa dying declarations. Yan po ang laging, dyan po usually nagkakaroon ng tanong. Let me explain kung bakit. Sabihin natin, sinabi nung taong namatay, bago siya mamatay na, hindi, mabubuhay pa ako. Lalaban tayo. Sabi niya gano'n. Anyway, ganito. Buuin natin yung facts. Sabihin natin si A sinaksak ni B. Si B nasa ospital. Kinausap ni B si C. Sabi ni C, ano ba nangyari? Huwag kang mag-alala. Sabi ni B, mabubuhay pa ako. Kaya natin to, sabi ni B. Okay. Tapos, sinabi din ni B, no? Pero, maiba tayo. Ang sumaksak sa akin si A. Sabi ni B ganon. And then later on, si B namatay kasi nag-cardiac arrest. Hindi kinaya ng katawan yung stress. 'Di ba? Doon sa emergency room. Okay? Hindi niya kinaya yung stress, nag-cardiac arrest, patay. Tanong, is this a dying declaration? The answer is no. Kasi that statement was not made under the consciousness of an impending death. Hindi po na-feel ni B na mamamatay siya. As stated by C, no? As shown in the facts, sinabi ni B na kaya niya ito, hindi pa siya mamamatay. Okay? Making it inadmissible kasi hearsay evidence, wala ka naman sa exception, inadmissible ka. Okay? If, assuming, no, na yung declaration ni B was offered by C, was offered by the prosecution, si C ang magte-testify to prove the truth of the facts asserted in that statement. Okay, sige, ano nga, let's connect the dots, no? Sabihin natin, before we determine pala, no, ito pala, before I go back to dying declaration, before we determine if dying declaration yan in the first place, or let's just say yan, in the first place, kailangan mo natin i-determine kung hearsay ba yung statement o independent irrelevant statement. Yun. Sabihin po natin na determine na hearsay yan. Because the prosecution in this case is offering the declaration as proof of the truth of the facts asserted therein. Sinabi ni B na ang pumatay sa kanya si A. Ino-offer namin yung declaration ni B na to prove na si A talaga pumatay sa kanya. Kasi wala tayong ebidensya kung hindi yun. No? Kasi nung sinaksak ni ACB, silang dalawa lang yung wala tayong eyewitness, walang CCTV. So doon lang po nakabank on yung kaso ng prosecution. That is a hearsay statement. Kasi the declaration of B before he died was being offered to prove the truth of that statement. That A actually stabbed B. So that is a hearsay statement. And determine natin kung admissible ba siya o hindi. For it to be admissible, kailangan pumasok po siya sa dying declaration. Okay? Kaya, ito na. Scrap nyo lahat na sinabi ko before. Mas maganda ito sinabi ko ngayon. Mas na-feel ko din na mas maganda yung pagkaka-deliver ko ngayon. Cover natin dying declaration. Yung sinabi ni, sinabi ni B kay C. Siyempre, si C ang magte-testify kasi siya nakakarinig eh. Sa kanya sinabi eh. C is not testifying as the witness, sole witness for the prosecution. Tiningnan. Ano ang sinabi sa'yo? Sabi nung accused on cross-examination. Ano ang sinabi sa'yo ni B bago siya mamatay? Sabi po niya sa akin, si A daw ang nanaksak sa kanya. Okay. May iba pang sinabi sa'yo? Sabi ganun nun, yung Tagalog na nun. May iba pa bang sinabi sa'yo? Tinanong nung counsel for the accused. Opo, may sinabi pa sa akin iba. Ano ang sinabi sa'yo na iba pa? Okay. Ano yun? Hindi siya leading question kasi ano? May sinabi ba? Di ba? Anyway, pwede rin pala leading question. Nasa cross-examination nga pala tayo labo. Okay. Anyway, sige. Sinabi ni C, sinabi po sa akin ni B na siya ay hindi pa mamamatay. Na kaya niya yan. Mailalagpas niya yung problema na to. Mabubuhay pa siya. Okay, Your Honor. Hindi po sa dying declaration. Di ba? So, pwedeng strike. Kasi, hearsay evidence. Hearsay statement. O yun ang sinabi nung accused. Ng counsel for the accused. No? Mayroon bang tama ba yung reasoning niya na hindi siya dying declaration? The answer is yes. Hindi siya dying declaration. Kasi, hindi po under the consciousness of an impending death. From the words, from the mouth of A, hindi ako mamamatay. Tapos ang usapan natin. That's not a dying declaration. However, mayroon pa bang ibang paraan para maging admissible yung hearsay statement na to? The answer is yes. Diyan po papasok yung res gestae. This is admissible as part of res gestae. Bakit? There was a statement. Sino nagsabi ng statement? Si B. It was made subsequent to the startling occurrence. What is the startling occurrence in this case? Yung pananaksak ni A kay B. That statement made by B to C was made subsequent to that occurrence. And nung sinabi ni B ito, he was still under the stress of excitement caused by that occurrence. Bakit sa under stress of excitement? May malamang nasa emergency room eh. Di ba gagamutin pa lang siya at namatay nga. May stress of excitement. Yan. So it is admissible hearsay evidence not because it is dying declaration but because it is part of res gestae. So admissible siya. Ulitin ko lang, no? Bago tayo pumunta dito sa dying declaration sa res gestae na yan, we first have to determine what kind of statement is this. Is this an independent irrelevant statement or a hearsay statement? Sabihin natin, independent irrelevant statement yan. Sabi ni C, sinasabi ko lang po ito para maibigay ko sa inyo kung ano yung sinabi niya sa akin bago siya mamatay. Hindi ko sinasabing totoo na si A talaga pumatay kay B. Ang sinasabi ko lang, yan yung sinabi sa akin. Okay, magkaroon ng dialogue, independent irrelevant statement. Yan. You don't have to factor these things. Hindi dapat nakikita sa sagot nyo yan. Pag nakita sa sagot nyo yan, patay tayo. Okay? Patay tayo dyan. Kasi, hindi po consistent na sasabihin mo independently relevant statement, tapos, ito ka. Unless the question itself states na, assuming that this is hearsay, can it be admitted as part of res gestae? Pag ganun ang dialogue, of course, you have to apply it accordingly na. Pero sabihin natin, ang tanong lang sa inyo, is the evidence admissible? Dapat hindi makikita to sa sagot nyo. Okay, tumihan nyo ako. Hindi dapat makikita yan. Kasi nga, hindi sila consistent. Independent irrelevant statement at saka dying declaration at saka res gestae. They are inconsistent principles. Diba? Kasi hearsay, sinabi mo nung una, independently, tapos mag-i-invoke ka ng hearsay statements ng mga instances. Diba? You get the point, no? So anyway, so that being said, balik tayo sa dying declaration. At babalik ulit natin, papasadahan natin yung res gestae later. Okay, next. The statement must be about the surrounding circumstances of his death. In Tagalog, dapat yung declaration niya about sa pagkamatay niya. Hindi sa pagkamatay ng iba, hindi sa sino ba nawawala niyang anak, hindi sa you get the point. Okay, may nawawala ba siyang anak, pagkamatay ng iba, but about sa pagkamatay niya. Hindi yung pagmamamatay na yung tao, sabihin natin, old age. 85 years, 95 years old. Bago siya mamatay. Anak ko yung natin, katulong natin. O yun ang dialogue. Ulitin ko, nag-file yung katulong ng daw. Petition to claim, petition to recognize the illegitimacy. Recognize him or her as an illegitimate child of Don whoever, Don de la Cruz, sabihin natin. Is that a dying declaration? The answer is no. Kasi the statement is not about the surrounding circumstances of his death. It's about the filiation, di ba, of a person. Hindi kasali sa dying declaration yan. Okay? Sige. Yung sa pedigree, no, hindi na natin itatakal kasi hindi naman siya natatanong normally sa bar niya. Okay. So ngayon, last is, his death is the subject of inquiry. Alam niyo, ibig sabihin, kung criminal case, yung pagkamatay niya yung topic, hindi pagkamatay ng iba. Actually, kung isipin niyo, hindi nga masyado to eh. Sa dalawa talaga na to. Kasi dyan masarap gawa ng tanong sa bar for dying declaration. Ito, hindi. Malamang, no? Tama nga ng buhay ko ngayon. Malamang, yung death yung subject ng inquiry. Diba? Ba't ka mag-o-offer ng testimony? Hindi naman yung, tama nga, no? Ba't mo yung offer testimony ng taong namatay o hindi naman yung death niya ang subject ng inquiry ng kaso? Tama, sorry. O yan, 2 and 3 lang. Okay, with that being said, let's go to part of rest justice po na ako. Kasi nasa baba na. Ayan, rest justice guys. Statement was made. Ito lang gusto ko i-point out sa inyo. No? Madali lang kasi yung starting occurrence na yan eh. Starting occurrence, this is broad. Broad yung topic na yun, yung starting occurrence, no? Walang one size fits all ng pagiging startling, no? Basta use your common sense kung mukha siyang nakaka-alarma, nakakagulat, no? Nakakagitla, nakaka-startle, o di ba? Nakaka-shock, no? Starting occurrence yan. Ang pwede pong angulo ng tanong sa inyo, yung appreciation nyo ng tatlong moments na to. While a startling occurrence is taking place, immediately prior, or subsequent thereto, under the stress of excitement caused by the occurrence. Tandaan niyo po yung salitang immediately, it only pertains to prior. It does not pertain to subsequent. Yung subsequent thereto, pwedeng not immediate. Baka di nyo alam yan, no? Especially mga hindi po nakapag, no? First time ako makirinig na mag-discuss on rules on evidence. Sabihin natin, si A na-rape ni B sa eskwelahan. Ngayon, after ma-rape, uwian na kasi. O di si A umuwi na sa kanila. Yung pauwi niya, inabot siya ng 2 oras kasi traffic. No? Siyempre, mahirap umuwi. Rush hour. Na-rape si A ni B. So si A, sumakay sa jeep, bumiyahe, 2 oras. Pag uwi niya sa bahay, sinabi niya sa nanay niya na ni-rape siya ni B. Later on, yung nanay niya nag-testify in court. Your Honor, sabi sa akin ni A, ni-rape siya ni B. And we are offering, sabi nung prosecution, the purpose of this offer is the purpose of presenting this evidence, this testimonial evidence, is to prove that B actually raped A. In other words, the statement was being offered to prove the truth of the facts asserted therein, in the statement. In the statement. Okay? So it's a hearsay statement. So ngayon we need to determine if it is admissible or inadmissible hearsay statement. So in that case po, is this part of res gestae? The answer is yes. Tandaan nyo, hindi siya immediate 2 oras ang lumipas at saka lang niya nasabi. But that statement made by B to her mother, si A pala, sorry, that statement of A made to her mother, it was made still under the stress of excitement caused by the occurrence. Na-stress pa rin ako, na-rape siya eh. Diba? At sinabi niya to sa kanyang ina pagka-uwi niya. Kasi nga, a startling occurrence happened previously. Diba? Nangyari. A startling occurrence happened in school pala previously. A startling occurrence happened in school. What is that? The rape incident. No? Ngayon, attorney, paano kung 6 na oras? 8 oras? Isang araw? Pwede pa rin magkaroon as long as that person is still under the stress of excitement caused by the occurrence. Case-to-case basis. ano ba itsura ng facts, no? Na-stress pa rin ba siya about the, ano, may stress of excitement pa rin ba siya? Huwag na kayo sa stress eh. No? Lahat naman ng tao may stress. Doon kayo sa excitement. No? Okay, huwag na sa stress. Kasi lahat naman kako ng tao may stress. No? Kahit naman 5 years later, may stress pa rin. Okay, doon tayo sa excitement. Basically, in Tagalog, hype pa ba siya? No? Because of the incident, no? Yung kanyang emotions. Hype pa ba? Di ba? Ano pa ba siya? Hindi parang hype, parang raised, no? Emotions niya raised pa ba, no? Basically ano pa siya, may dito. Yun na, tama ako, no? Yung emotions niya, is she still emotional? Yun. Suffering from ano ba? From yun nga, anyway. Why am I overcomplicating this? Basta excited pa. Whether good or bad. Okay? Stress of excitement caused by the occurrence. No? May excitement pa siyang may silakbo. Ayan. Ayan. Yung kanyang feelings. Okay. Kahit na 6 hours later yan, that is still part of restless state. Yun yung gusto ko i-point out. Okay. Lastly, statement was made accompanying an equivocal act material to the issue and giving it legal significance. Ito yung hindi masyadong natatanong na part of restless state. Ang gusto ko lang po i-point out dito, ang pinaka-important na kailangan yung malaman dyan, equivocal act. Ito po yung parang ano niyan, anchor ng buong sentence. Ito yung anchor niya. Dito lahat nagmumula lahat, no? Kasi po malamang sa bar exam, yung tanong about that second type of restless state, part of restless state, material to the issue, malamang. Okay? At kung material to the issue, malamang yung statement will give legal significance to the equivocal act. No? But ang mahirap po dyan, what is the equivocal act that we're talking about? So what does equivocal mean? It means unclear, susceptible of multiple interpretations, multiple meanings, equivocal. Pag sinabi mong unequivocal, ibig sabihin niya clear, precise, without question. O ganyan. Okay? Direct. Yan ang mga synonyms, meaning ng ano, or meaning ng unequivocal. So pag sinabi equivocal, unclear, susceptible of multiple interpretations, no? You get the point. So yung po sabihin niya, may statement na sinabi. Dalawa pala important dito na words. Accompany sa equivocal. Okay. May sinabi. Okay? Habang may ginagawang equivocal act yung isang partido. And this statement accompanied that equivocal act. Okay? Malamang it will give it legal significance, no? Kasi that's the purpose, okay? Yung statement na yon, okay? To give it legal significance. Okay? Yung legal significance, this will test your knowledge ng civil code, commercial law, and so on. Okay, anyway, gawa natin ng example, no? Sabihin natin, bibigyan kita ng pera. Why am I giving this money to you? That's an equivocal act. We can interpret that in multiple ways. Maybe I'm giving this to you kasi may utang ako sa'yo. Or maybe I'm giving this to you kasi may binili akong property sa'yo. Or maybe I'm giving this to you kasi nagdo-donate ako ng pera sa'yo. Diba? We don't know. Susceptible of multiple interpretations. It's equivocal. Now, I made a statement accompanying that act of giving money. Sabi ko, bayad ko to sa utang mo. Bayad utang mo. Bayad ko to sa utang ko sa'yo. That is a statement accompanying my act of giving you money. Now, another person heard it. Sabihin natin yung kapitbahay nating Marites. Later on, she will testify or he will testify doon sa sinabi ko na kasi ang defense ko payment. So, sa witness ko siya. Unang-una, what's the purpose of the offer? No? Anyway, sabihin nung kapitbahay na Marites natin, narinig ko po, nakita ko rin na sinabi ni Attorney Anselmo na ito po ang bayad niya sa utang niya sa'yo. O, yun yung testimony niya. What is the purpose of this offer? Are we proving this to prove? Are we presenting this to prove that the statement was made by me? Yung bayad ko to sa iyo, sa utang ko sa iyo, or we're already offering this to prove the truth of what I stated to you. Ano ba yung truth na na gusto nating ipakita rito? That I already paid you. Basically, isa, surface level lang. May sinabi. Hindi ko sinasabi totoo yung sinabi niya. O totoo yung nilalam. Ayun, hindi pa totoo yung sinabi niya. Hindi ko, kung ako yung marites, hindi ko sinasabi na totoo yung laman ng sinasabi niya. Gagamitin ko yun next time sa mga lectures. Maganda yung Tagalog ko na yun. Hindi ko sinasabi na totoo yung laman ng sinabi niya. Ang sinasabi ko lang, may sinabi siya na narinig ko. Kung totoo man yan o hindi, mali ko dyan. Gets? Sinasabi ko lang kung ano yung narinig at nakita ko. O, ngayon, sabihin natin, ino-offer to ni Marites, nung kapitbahay natin, to prove the truth. Totoo yung nilalaman nung sinabi ko na bayad na talaga yung utang ko sa'yo. Confident. Okay? That is a hearsay statement. If anything, ako dapat ang mag-testify kasi. Di ba? Ako yung nagbigay ng pera eh. O, the best witness to determine kung nagbayad na talaga o hindi, yung tao nagbigay ng pera, which is ako. Who is ako? Ako na may utang. Pero ayoko nga mag-testify for some reason eh. O nag-testify yung Marites. That is part of restless stay. Admissible hearsay evidence siya. Kasi, my statement accompanied my equivocal act. My statement accompanied my equivocal act. And this gave it legal significance. Hindi natin alam before, why am I giving you money? But since I stated something na utang ko ito sa'yo, bayad ko to sa utang ko sa'yo, nagkaroon po siya ng legal significance. What is the legal significance? Extinguishment of obligation because of payment. Ayos tayo. Okay? Move tayo to the last topic, no? Documentary evidence. At saka object evidence, we need to differentiate the two. Okay, last topic po tayo for rules on evidence, no? Object versus documentary evidence, no? So tatandaan nyo, ang pagkakaiba po ng dalawa na yan, sa object evidence, it is offered to prove the fact of execution normally. Okay? Kung yung independently relevant statement, it is offered to prove that the statement was in fact made. Ito naman, object evidence, it is offered to prove that the document was actually executed. On the other hand, sa documentary evidence, it is offered to prove the contents. No? When the subject of inquiry is the contents of the document. So it is offered to prove the contents of the document. Okay? Ngayon, kailangan natin ng application for this one, no? So let's apply this properly. Kuha tayo ng bar exam question, no, for this, no? Ito. Number 15 question. 2022 bar. Okay? In a case for estafa, no, number 15, bar 2022. In a case for estafa, the prosecution offered the photocopy of the acknowledgement receipt signed by the accused, showing personal receipt of the sum of money from the private complainant to prove the amount of damage. Basically, ang inoffer po yung photocopy ng resibo. The accused objected to the offer of the photocopy on the sole ground that it is a mere reproduction of the original in violation of the original document rule o noong unang panahon, best evidence rule. Okay. The court overruled the accused's objection and admitted in evidence the photocopy of the acknowledgement receipt. So the question is, did the court err in admitting the photocopy? The answer is no. The court did not err in admitting the photocopy of the acknowledgement receipt. Ano po ang dahilan? Because the photocopy was only offered to prove that it was executed. Okay? Ay, ulit. Hindi pala ito dapat yung topic for this one, no? The subject of inquiry in this case is the contents of the acknowledgement receipt, no? The fact that, uh, yeah, the fact that na-receive yung money. Okay. Scrap muna natin. Ito pala yung part 2, no? Masyado ko advance mag-isip. Ito yung part pala ng discussion natin. Doon na tayo sa part 1. Maghahanap ulit ako ng ibang bar question for the part 1. Babalik tayo dito. Okay. Ayan. Ito. Sorry na, mali po ako ha. Dito tayo sa bar question, 2019 bar pala yung sinasabi ko. 2019 bar, number 17. O ayan, B17. Ito yung tanong, sorry. Ito yung tanong. Under the rules on evidence, ito, mali. Ayan, in a case for specific performance and damages, the plaintiff Q presented photocopies of the contracts he had executed with defendant R for the purpose of establishing their existence. Defendant R objected to the admission of the said photocopies. Ito nga yun, invoking the best evidence rule. Kasi ito yung dating rule. Pangalan ng rule. No? Ngayon, original document rule na ang tawag. First question. Should the objection of defendant R be sustained? The answer is no. Kasi it was not a documentary evidence, no? The best evidence rule or the original document rule only applies if the document is a documentary evidence. And how can it be a documentary evidence? If it was offered to prove the truth of the contents of the document. In this case, the document was offered merely to prove the fact that a contract existed between Q and R. Therefore, it is an object evidence. So, the objection of defendant R must be overruled because the best evidence rule or the original document rule does not apply in this case. It is inapplicable since it is not a documentary evidence. O yun pala. O now, i-assume natin ngayon that the evidence is documentary. Ibig sabihin, the document was offered to prove the contents of the same. Ano ngayon ang implication? The original document rule applies. So, you cannot present a secondary evidence. No? The secondary evidence is inadmissible as a general rule. Diba? So, doon na tayo sa general rule, huwag natin pahirapan. So, the secondary evidence is inadmissible. Ang original document rule, ang pwede mo lang i-present is either of the two. The original or the duplicate. So what is the duplicate? No, mahaba yan, di ba? It is reproduction, di ba? Which accurately reproduces the original from the same matrix, same impression, and so on and so forth. No, pakibasa, please understand the whole paragraph niyan. What is a duplicate? What is an original? Kasali po sa original yung printout ng wait lang. Yun, print out of an original of a photograph. Ayan, includes the negative or any print therefrom. Ayun pala ang point ko. If data is stored in a computer or a similar device, any printout or other output available, readable by sight or other means shown to reflect the data accurately is an original. So pag sinabi mo original, kasali po dyan, normally dito nga papasok eh. Pag sinabi mo original, yung negative o yung actual printout ng picture, no, pag dinevelop sa camera, that is an original. Pero ito po ang timely kasi lahat naman tayo ngayon computer na. If data is stored on a computer or similar device, the printout of that output is considered as an original. No, doon muna tayo sa tinakal ko kanina no na na statement na example, no? Yung dun sa acknowledgement receipt, no? This will end our discussion, no, for remedial, no? Diba, in a case for estafa, the prosecution over the photocopy of the acknowledgement receipt signed by the accused showing personal receipt of the sum of money from the private complainant to prove the amount of damage. Hindi po to prove the fact of existence, di ba? Para patunayan ng amount ng damage. Magkano yung binigay nung complainant na pera dun sa defendant, dun sa accused? Kasi may acknowledgement receipt nga. Di ba? Gusto natin ipakita. Okay? So this is a documentary evidence kasi it is not being offered to prove the fact of existence. It is offered to prove the contents. Ano ba yung content nito? Magkano binigay mo na pera? That is part of the contents, di ba? Ano yung nakalagay na amount sa resibo? O kung 1 million yan, 1 million yan, di ba? Contents. Hindi po yung fact of execution but the items. No? Ano yung numbers na nandun sa loob ng resibo? This is a documentary evidence. O ngayon, yung, di ba, ang pinaresenta nga po dito in court, yung photocopy. No? Photocopy ng acknowledgement receipt ang pinakita, hindi po yung talagang copy. Okay, yung talagang sinulatan, yung may ballpen ng acknowledgement receipt. Tanong, is this admissible in evidence, yung photocopy? Tandaan yung admissible po yan. Bakit? Punta tayo sa meaning ng duplicate. Okay. A duplicate is a counterpart produced by the same impression as the original or from the same matrix and so on and so forth by chemical reproduction or by other equivalent techniques which accurately reproduce the original. A duplicate is admissible to the same extent as an original. Guys, a photocopy is a counterpart produced by the same impression as the original. On top of that, it is a chemical reproduction of the original. Diba? I-produce it. May chemical doon sa Xerox machine. Now you have a new copy. That is a duplicate. So, under the new rules po, tandaan nyo ha, a photocopy is a duplicate. It is admissible to the same extent as the original. So, sagot po natin sa bar question na to, number 15 sa 2022 bar, it is admissible as a documentary evidence because a photocopy is a duplicate of the original. Okay. Ulitin ko, pipinaresenta po itong document na to prove the contents. So, documentary evidence siya, hindi siya object. Still, admissible siya kasi duplicate po yung ipinakita natin in court. Same extent admissibility as original. Next tayo, no? Ito gusto ko ito i-tackle kasi taong ko to. Nung taong ko to tinanong, if my memory serves me right. Yung ano, yan. Ay. Wala. Hindi lang. Ayan. Ito. Tanong ko nga to. Number 8 question, 2020-2021 bar. O, ayan. Is the printout of a photograph from your mobile phone showing a fly in the soup you ordered admissible in evidence in an action for damages against the restaurant owner? Explain briefly. The answer is yes. The printout of the photograph is admissible in evidence. O bago natin i-determine kung duplicate or original to, i-determine muna natin, is this a documentary or object evidence? This is a documentary evidence. Hindi po siya object. Bakit natin ipipresenta yung picture nung langaw doon sa soup? Hindi naman po to prove the fact of its existence lang nung ano dokumento Ipinapakita natin yan to prove the content na talagang mayroong langaw doon sa pagkain ko. We are offering this picture as our evidence, as part of our exhibits to show na there was actually a fly in the soup. Hindi lang the fact na nagpicture ako. Get? Hindi lang po yung the fact na nag-picture ako, in-upload ko, pinrint ko. Hindi lang yun. Ang pinapatunayan natin dito, ano ba yung nakalaman doon sa picture na yun? May langaw nga. That is a documentary evidence. However, is this an original document? The answer is yes. Kasi this is a printout from a computer or a similar device. Similar device includes a mobile phone. So, it is admissible in evidence as a documentary evidence because it complies with the original document rule. Why did it comply with the original document rule? Because a printout from a computer or a similar device is considered as an original. Okay, this ends our discussion for remedial law, no? Medyo natagalan tayo, no? Which makes sense kasi remedial law to. Ayan, no? Next natin itatackle after this one, commercial law, no? Initial comments ko lang po sa commercial law, mas konti po yung nauulit na topic sa commercial law than sa remedial law, which makes sense naman po kasi ang commercial law, napakaraming laws. Diba? Every nga nagpapalit eh. Minsan may nego, minsan wala. Minsan may Philippine Competition Act, data privacy, napakadaming banking laws. So it makes sense po na mas konti yung nauulit na tanong. And trivia lang po sa lahat, no, hindi po ganun kadami, no, yung commercial law cases, shares cases ni Justice Mario Lopez. No, so we will do our best to share to you na lang sa commercial law lecture natin. Yung talagang kung may nauulit man, itatakil natin yung mga naulit. At syempre, yung mga basic talaga na dapat nating baon-baon for commercial law. No? Well, for the most part, corporation law itatakil ko syempre. No? 50% ng commercial law yan lagi, ng laman ng commercial law questions. No? So, yun, no? Doon tayo mag-focus, corporation law, and the other topics. Pwede tayo maglagay ng SRC sa tender offer, insider trading, pag sa insurance, sa insurable interest, no, incontestability clause, and so on. Pero sinasabi ko po sa inyo, commercial law has fewer repetitions sa questions na tinatanong, topics na tinatanong. No? Ayan, but we will do our best, regardless. No? See you sa next video, guys.